paper written by Festim RIZANAJ and Flora HAJDARMATAJ. Yes, Flora.
Hello to everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Flora. I am from Albania. Now we'll try to share my presentation. Can you see in the screen? It's okay?
Yeah,
okay. Today I will speak about the myths of the election campaign in Kosovo and Albania, semiological analysis of the political cartoons published in the newspapers. This research was prepared by me and my colleague Festim RIZANAJ, both of us PhD candidate at University of Anadolu, Department of Journalism. Political cartoons, which are published in the newspaper, are positioned as a kind of political communication tool that serves a bridge between the political institution and the public by interpreting daily political affairs. The language of the political cartoons is more subjective and critical than newspaper reports. The study aims to find the ideological stains of the political cartoons published during the election period and discover the function from the political and social networks during the pandemic. We analyze subjects that were most often covered in the cartoons published in the newspapers during the election campaign and how these subjects were interpreted, including the debates and the long discourse during the campaign. The method of semiological semiotic analysis was used based on the idea that cartoons could hold the other meanings than their usual meanings. I will go more faster in this part, history and the concept of the cartoons. We know in modern life dominated by images, cartoons created with visual and verbal images are also presented in mysterious work filled with the meaning that affects people's life. The word caricature comes from the Italian word carico and caricare, which means to charge and exaggerate. Cartoons is a branch of art that aims to make people think and laugh, especially by criticizing them and emphasizing the most distinctive features of the people or exaggerating these features.
Flora?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think I closed the microphone. Okay. In the modern life dominated by images, cartoons created. I read this one. Sorry, I will. Why is not? My screen is stopped. I don't know what is having the problem. Yes. Can you hear me now? It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. The cartoons provide the normative judgment about the social issues using a variety of journalistic conventions such as word figures, metaphors, and irony. Cartoons also enjoy greater editorial freedoms and are considered the free press item. The methodology, cartoons have a philosophy, ideology, and ultimately discourse. Signs and symbols are important part of the political cartoons. Then it is appreciated to use the method of the semiological analysis. Semiology focuses on the way in which signs communicate and the rules governing their use. For semiology, the message is a construction of signs, which through interaction with the recipient produce the meanings. The basic concepts of the semiotics are signs, signifier, and signified. The signs is a philosophical object with a meaning. A sign consists of the signifier and signified. The signifier is the sign image as we perceive it, the mark of the paper or the sound in the air. The signified is the mental concept in which it's referred. The mental concept is broadly common to all members of the same culture who share the same languages. The second of Barth's three ways in which science works in the second order is through myth. A myth for Barth is a cultural way of thinking about something, a way of conceptualization or understanding. Analysis of cartoons of the last election in Kosovo and Albania. In Kosovo and in Albania, the campaign for the parliamentary election held in February 14th and April 25, 2021 took place in pandemic time. The political cartoons of newspapers HAJDARMATAJ and MAPO Albania were analyzed. Based on research, 8 were the main topics addressed in the cartoons, published in the newspaper HAJDARMATAJ in Kosovo. Promises, pandemic, diaspora, vote, television, debate, vote, search, polls, and the dialogue with Serbia. Based on the research and the other research, 4 were the main topics addressed in the cartoons published in the newspaper MAPO in Albania. Election campaign, offer slogans and vision, missing debate, Western standard, etc. In Kosovo, we have firstly, like the vote, the searching for vote. The seeking of vote was the topic that was mostly addressed in the cartoons of the newspaper HAJDARMATAJ, a total of 5. In the cartoons were presented political candidates seeking the votes of the citizens in various forms, without sparing ways and means. Here the myths are politicians only during the election remember the citizens, candidates embrace the vote of the citizens and not the citizen, the candidate seeking the vote of the citizen with design promises. Exaggerated promises. Here, political parties in Kosovo during their election campaign have made promises which, as in the past, have been accessed as exaggerated. Promises of political parties during the election campaign has been the topic which has been addressed with 4 cartoons. Myths here are inflated promises, repeated unfulfilled promises, promises unfulfilled in the past. Non-compliance to the COVID-19 regulation, the election campaign by political entities was not in accordance with the decisions of the protection measures against the COVID-19 pandemic. Political entities as a whole or not the candidates for member of parliament did not respect the social distance, wearing masks and the use of disinfectants. Also, according to the decisions of the government of Kosovo in office, respectively the Ministry of Health, only 30 people were allowed indoors and only 50 people in open places. The number of supporters in the meetings during the election held in all Kosovo, it was many times bigger. Myths here in this, we can see non-compliance to the COVID-19 regulation, breach of coronavirus COVID-19 measures. Television debates. Here, television debates were one of the elements that characterized the pre-election campaign during the February 14th, 2021 elections. But these debates were also characterized by very low languages, including insults and swearing amongst themselves. These debates often contained more accusation than arguments. Here, the debates, as you can see, are debates having stained the citizen more than they have given him to the necessary information to decide on the vote. Candidates' debates on television are more about confronting each other than about the television programs. Citizens stained by television election debates interpreted as a thriller film.
Last minute.
Okay, I will try to finish fast because we have also Albania. Assessments and investments in candidates by privileges. Whenever elections are announced in Kosovo, political parties, in addition to megalomaniacal promises of good governance, try to bring them new figures from civil society, the world of art, culture, etc. There are also ascensions from the party to another. This it was assessment only as a game to stand out and that everything is being done for personal interest. Also, the candidates have made large investment by spending large sums and of money to get the vote of citizens to occupy the chair of deputy, which offer good privileges. Missed here are investments for the member of parliament privileges, ascensions for the privileges of the member of parliament. Diaspora vote, expensive and challenging, was in the last election. The diaspora vote was one of the debates which was elaborated. For weeks, members of diaspora have expressed their frustration and confused about the process on social media due to the lack of timely and clear information from the CEC. Many diaspora voters have reported paying tens of euros in express delivery fees to assure their votes are counted, but given the global postal disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and system, poor postage in Kosovo are not guaranteed that they will arrive before the deadline 21 February. Myths here are costly diaspora vote by post in the struggle with the time. Polls are not welcomed. The polls have been an integral part of the recent election in Kosovo. They are organized by different groups, but also by the parties themselves. But these polls have not been welcomed. They are often considered to have a certain agendas. Occasionally, they have clashed with the political parties. Myths here, the candidates did not trust and were not satisfied with the polls conducted and opposed them. Dialogue, another topic is dialogue with Serbia. Here you can see from the myth is like the dialogue is continues. This issue of dialogue with Serbia has not occupied much space in the election campaign in Kosovo. But however, it's estimated that in Kosovo they are aware that the dialogue with Serbia will be one of the first challenges that the new government will face, whatever it is. In Albania, the election campaign was the topic most addressed in the cartoons of the newspaper map, a total of 3. Political discourse in the election campaign in Albania develops not by confronting political concepts, but remains at the level of personalized attacks between the political opponents. In the cartoons published in the Mapo newspaper, the rivalry between the Socialist Party, Edi Rama, and the Democratic Lulzim Basha one is directly presented. In the cartoons, the party leaders are the main characters. Rivalry between the leaders and the Democratic Party has one program, you can see it here, and the Socialist Party affiliated with the mafia, as it's showed here. Debate through symbols of the fingers, the Democratic Party with the victory symbols, the Socialist Party, the fingers with the continuous languages. Offer, slogan, and the vision. The offer, slogan, and the vision was one of the topics that addressed with the 3 cartoons in the newspaper Mapa. Because the leaders of the Socialist Party was in the power, and he was the center of the attention in this time of promises. The offer, the slogan, and the vision have been related with the leader of the Socialist Party. Means here are like, we have an angelic vision, Democratic Party go, Socialist Party stay. If you want to be vaccinated, you have to vote me, etc. Like that.
Okay, summarize, please.
Yes, I have just the last one, or I have 2 minutes, and I will summarize. It was something interesting, missing debate. The missing debate was a topic that addressed in 2 cartoons in the newspaper Mapa. Because the leader of the Socialist Party was in power, then he had to confront to take part in the debates with his rivals or no. The leader of the Socialist Party, and at the same time is the Prime Minister of Albania, he has mainly rejected the public debates with his political rivals, and has thus been assessed as a coward of debates. Myths here are an invitation to debate if you are not afraid it. Socialist Party leader, at the same time, the Prime Minister of Albania as a coward of public debates. We have here the Western standard. Is the American ambassador is the most, how to say, figure in the political development in Albania. Here the message, if you want to change, here is the ballot box. Conclusion, as I said, based on the research, 8 were the main topics addressed in cartoons published in newspaper in Kosovo, in Coaditora: promises, pandemic, diaspora, vote, television debates, vote research, polls, and dialogue with Serbia. In Albania, based on the research, 4 were the main topics addressed in the cartoons: election campaign, offer, slogan, missing debate, Western standard. In general, we can say, as a result of the analysis, the cartoons of Jeton Mikolovsky, published in the newspaper Coaditora, mainly reflect the process and phenomena that characterized the election and pre-election campaign. Unlike the cartoons in Albania, which portray the leaders of the parties, representing the parties in competition between the parties and the leaders, the analyzed cartoons elaborated and criticized the phenomenon which characterized this phrase. Thank you for your attention.